10 minutes to the top of the hour here. The United States is pulling away from the Gaza ceasefire table. President Trump's U.S. Middle East peace envoy, Steve Witkoff, is bringing home the negotiating team from Doha, Qatar. Witkoff says the decision was made because Hamas appears to not want to make a deal. And the U.S. is now considering what they call alternative options to getting the remaining Israeli hostages back home. Joining me now is Moshe Lavi. He's the brother-in-law of Omri Miran, who's been held a hostage since the October 7th attacks. Moshe, thank you, as always, for taking the time. As somebody who has now waited in anguish for more than 650 days for your loved one to come home, how do you feel about this decision for the negotiating team to pull out of Gaza and come back?
Good morning, Markie. Yeah, it's been a difficult week for us. It started with optimism, or cautious optimism, that we received from relevant stakeholders. And then we received the news yesterday that the negotiation team is pulling out, that the Israeli negotiation team is returning to Jerusalem. And so it's clear that something has been going wrong in Doha. It's been going wrong for a while because Hamas keeps putting new conditions every time Israel makes concessions and compromises. And they're being emboldened by an international community that takes stances in crucial moments of negotiations, instead of trying to push Hamas to agree to a deal that will alleviate suffering for Gazans and will bring home our hostages. I still hope that this is a negotiation tactic, in order to ensure Hamas understand that this is their only path to end this war. But it could very well mean that we'll have a more prolonged war in the coming months.
Something that stuck out to us, which I mentioned off the top there, was that Steve Witkoff did say that the United States will seek alternative options to bring the hostages back home. Do you have any information on what those might look like, or even just what you hope those might be?
I don't have information, and per my understanding, there's really no other path to bringing them home alive, those who are still alive, unless it's through a deal that is supported by more than 70% of the Israeli public. Any other attempt to bring them home militarily will most likely end up with a tragedy. Similar tragedy happened in the past, including a year ago, when negotiations broke in July, and then 6 hostages were murdered in August, the end of August, as IDF soldiers were approaching terrorists who were holding them captive. So I do hope that Mr. Witkoff and the Trump administration will use all the levers to pressure Hamas, to pressure their accomplices and sponsors. But I don't see any other viable path to bring home the hostages.
I know that Omri is married to your sister, Lishai. They have 2 beautiful daughters, one of whom turns 4 next week, right? She's now spent half of her life without dad. Of course, the greatest gift would be to celebrate alongside him. How are they holding up? And also, what is the last update that you've been given on Omri?
My sister has been an incredible advocate. She's currently in Washington, D.C. on an advocacy delegation, meeting elected officials, speaking with all the really relevant officials that are part of the discussions. And she's doing all that while still caring for Ronnie and Alma. It's incredible what she's been through. She survived October the 7th herself. Terrorists held her captive in her own home with Omri and the girls, and yet she has this strength and resilience. And the girls are really looking to get answers about why their father is not home. A few weeks ago, they imitated speaking on the phone with him, and Ronnie really broke my heart when she asked, as if she was asking Omri, whether they're going to let him come home soon for a birthday. I hope it will happen, but it's unlikely at the moment. And our role as families is to keep elevating the stories of the hostages, people like Omri, a shiatsu therapist, a gardener, a beautiful soul that needs to return home, and push elected officials to make bold decisions, which include a deal that will be difficult to digest, but it's the only way to bring home the hostages.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.